Heartland, Season 19, Episode 2, Deep Dive, Weathering Storms. When skies darken over Heartland, it's never just about the weather. Weathering Storms, the second episode of Heartland's 19th season, picks up the threads left dangling in last week's breathtaking premiere and weaves them into something even more compelling. A tapestry of courage, connection, and the quiet strength that has defined this series for nearly 2 decades. If Turning Tides introduced us to Riley and Echo's desperate flight to freedom, Weathering Storms asks an even more profound question. What happens when running is no longer an option? Sometimes you have to stand your ground as the thunder rolls in. Dawn Patrol. The episode opens with that signature Heartland dawn, golden light spilling across dew-kissed fields. But unlike the peaceful mornings we've come to expect, there's an undercurrent of tension as Amy stands at the fence line, watching Riley and Echo move as one across the meadow. No saddle, no bridle, just trust, the purest form of connection that has always been at the heart of this show. Jack approaches with coffee, and their exchange sets the stage for what's to come. Seems your new charges are early risers, Jack observes. Couldn't sleep. Neither of them, Amy replies, her eyes never leaving the pair. He has a gift, she adds later, watching Riley guide Echo with nothing more than whispers and gentle hand movements. Reminds me of someone else who showed up here years ago, Jack responds. We expect him to mention Ty, Amy's late husband whose presence still infuses Heartland with meaning. But instead, Jack says simply, I was thinking of you. It's a beautiful callback to Amy's own journey, a reminder that Heartland's legacy is built on generations of healing and hope. The moment is broken by news that the welfare investigation team will arrive earlier than expected, clearly Callaway's doing. As Amy heads off to prepare Riley and Echo for the scrutiny to come, dark clouds gather on the horizon, both literally and figuratively. Unexpected allies, meanwhile. In Hudson, Lou is buried in research when the door to her mayoral office swings open to reveal perhaps the last person we expected to see this early in the season, Georgie Fleming Morris, looking more confident and mature than ever. I came as soon as I got your message, Georgie explains, brushing aside Lou's concerns about Olympic qualifiers with 5 simple words. Family comes first, always has. The reunion between these two is everything fans could hope for. Emotional without being sentimental, powerful without being overplayed. But what makes this scene truly compelling is the revelation that follows. He's not just after Echo or the development deal, Lou confides. I think he wants Heartland itself. The stakes have just been raised exponentially. This isn't just about one horse or one boy anymore. It's about everything the Bartlett-Fleming family has built over generations. Georgie's response? Well, he's about to learn what happens when you mess with the Flemings. And just like that, we're reminded why we've missed her so much. Bonds that can't be broken back at Heartland. Amy finds Riley meticulously grooming Echo, his movements gentle but anxious. When he expresses fear that rich men like Callaway always get what they want, Amy takes him to her office and shares something deeply personal, photos of herself with Spartan after losing her mother. I lost my mom in the same accident that brought Spartan to me, she explains. We helped each other heal. Riley's response breaks our hearts. Echo was born the day my dad left. I was the only one there when she came into the world. In that moment, Amy and Riley forge a connection that goes beyond mentor and student. They recognize in each other the profound understanding that sometimes our deepest wounds and greatest healings come intertwined with the animals who see us at our most vulnerable. No matter what happens today, Amy promises, I will fight for both of you with everything I have. It's a promise we know she'll keep, because Amy Fleming has never been one to back down from what's right. The investigation. When the animal welfare officials arrive, they're closely followed by Callaway in his sleek black vehicle, a visual contrast to Heartland's weathered warmth that perfectly symbolizes the conflict at hand. Just as the tension peaks, another vehicle pulls in. Georgie emerges with Lou, armed with documentation from the National Equestrian Association. This is highly irregular, Callaway protests, his confident facade beginning to crack. Mr. Callaway, we will speak with all parties. Separately, responds the lead official, Karen Winters, with a firmness that momentarily silences him. What follows is both heartbreaking and hopeful, as Riley demonstrates his connection with Echo for the officials. When the equine specialist, Dr. Torres, examines Echo's injuries, he states what we already know. These aren't from brambles or fencing. The pattern is consistent with crop marks. Riley's account of Callaway deciding to break her spirit properly sends chills down our spines. But it's the veterinarian's professional assessment that gives us hope. Separating this horse from this young man would cause significant trauma to the animal. Just when it seems victory is within reach, Georgie steps forward with documents suggesting irregularities in Echo's ownership transfer, adding legal complexity to what Callaway had framed as simple theft. The officials extend their protective custody order, allowing Echo to remain at Heartland pending full investigation. But Callaway's parting words to Jack hang ominously in the air. "You think you've won, old man? This is just beginning. I built my first empire on land not far from here. I'll build the next one on yours." The threat is clear, the battle lines are drawn, and we're only 2 episodes into the season. Family dinner. Unexpected guest that evening. The extended family gathers around the Heartland table, a visual we've cherished for 18 seasons. Jack, Amy, Lou, Georgie, Riley, and a teenage Katie celebrate their small victory, though Riley remains unconvinced. "He'll come back," he says simply. "Likely will," Jack agrees, never one to sugarcoat reality. What follows is a beautiful Heartland moment as the family assures Riley that this land and these people have weathered storms before. Financial troubles, natural disasters, and men like Callaway. Katie lightens the moment with a whispered, "Plus, nobody messes with Grandpa Jack." Trust me, drawing the first genuine smile we've seen from Riley. The celebration is interrupted by a knock at the door. Jack opens it to reveal a travel-worn man in his mid-30s who introduces himself as Daniel McGregor. Jack's recognition is immediate. "You're Callaway's stepson." The revelation lands like a thunderclap, and suddenly we're looking at an entirely new dimension to this conflict. Ghosts from the past. In the living room, Daniel reveals why he's tracked Callaway across 3 provinces. "Because 20 years ago, I was Riley." The parallel is haunting. Another boy who loved a horse deemed untrainable by Callaway. But Daniel's story had no happy ending. He references a fire at Callaway's southern property, an attempt to free his horse that went wrong. "My horse didn't make it out," he tells Riley, who absorbs this painful truth before responding with quiet determination. "Echo will." The scene shifts to Amy finding Riley sitting outside Echo's stall later that night, the horse's head draped comfortingly over his shoulder. "Do you really think we can stop someone like Callaway?" Riley asks, his voice small but steady. Amy's response encapsulates everything Heartland has always stood for. "When I was younger than you, I learned something important about facing storms. You don't do it alone." She gestures toward the main house where lights still burn, a perfect visual metaphor for hope in darkness. "Look around you, Riley." Daniel searching for justice. Georgie flying back from Olympic training. Lou using her position as mayor. Jack standing firm as always. All for a horse and a kid they barely know? Riley questions. "For what's right," Amy answers simply. "That's what Heartland has always been about." Darkness gathers. In stark contrast to Heartland's warmth, we cut to Callaway's imposing modern mansion. Inside his sleek office, he makes a chilling phone call. "I don't care what it takes. I want everything you can find on the Flemings, on Bartlett, on the social worker handling the boy's case." As he circles Heartland on a map with a red marker, his true motivation becomes clear. 20 years I've waited to reclaim what should have been mine. That valley has water rights that will make the development worth 10 times my investment. His final words send shivers down our spines. No horse-whispering family is going to stand in my way. Not again. The "again" hangs in the air, hinting at a history between Callaway and Heartland that goes deeper than we initially thought. Dawn breaks anew. Wasam. The episode closes as it began, with dawn breaking over Heartland. But something has shifted. As Riley attempts to saddle Echo for the first time since their escape, the horse initially dances away, remembering past pain. Following Amy's guidance, Riley sets the saddle aside and instead kneels in the dirt of the pen. Echo approaches cautiously, then lowers her head to him in a moment of exquisite trust. "We're home now," Riley whispers. "Both of us." From the fence, Georgie watches with professional interest, commenting on Riley's natural instincts. In the distance, Jack and Lou observe Daniel, examining old property maps spread across his truck hood. "Storm's coming," Jack notes. "Can feel it in my bones." Lou's response is pure Fleming determination. "Then we'll weather it. Together." As Riley finally places the saddle gently on Echo's back, Amy's voiceover carries us into the closing montage. They say the strongest bonds are forged in the hardest storms. At Heartland, we've weathered many, but as the clouds gather once more, I'm reminded of what my father taught me long ago. It's not about the storm's strength. It's about who stands beside you when the rain falls. The camera tilts up to show dark clouds building on the horizon, moving toward Heartland, a perfect visual metaphor for the season ahead.